So for our writing focus this term, as you probably already know, we're looking at persuasive writing. You guys have been doing such a good job of gaining an understanding and developing your skills on persuasive writing so far with the activities that we've been doing. And we're just going to continue that today by looking at this concept called viewpoints in our writing. Now, on your slide that you're on now, it has a little start of a sentence that says, "A viewpoint is." And what I want you to do is have a think to yourself, or have a discussion with your brother and sister or your mum and dad if they're around about what you actually think a viewpoint is. So I'll give you a second just to pause the video now and have that discussion, or think to yourself what you think it might be. Okay, so a viewpoint is basically your point of view, how you see something, your opinion on a particular topic. As readers, we all have different views and opinions. When writing persuasive text, it is your job to try and convince the reader to agree with your point of view. Now, how do you think that we might be able to do this? How would we be able to convince readers to agree with our point of view? It's by giving great reasons, which you've been practicing already last week. The first activity that we're going to do looking at viewpoints today is reading this book called I Don't Want to Be a Frog. And then in the speaker notes below, just here, you're going to write some different viewpoints of the frog and the mother, the baby frog and the mother frog. So, I know you haven't watched the book yet, you will when this video is finished, but I'll just give you a little example. The baby frog does not want to be a frog. Now that is the baby frog's viewpoint. That's its point of view. He doesn't want to be a frog. But he hasn't given me a reason. I'm not really convinced why, because he hasn't given me any reasons to convince me. So, what I would write is the baby frog doesn't, even though I spelled that wrong, sorry, doesn't want to be a frog because he does not want to get wet. That's his viewpoint. Now you can go through, continue this, write lots of different viewpoints. You can write as many as you like. So don't just do the bare minimum, do as much as you can of the different viewpoints between the frog and the mother. And then once you have finished that, you're going to go into this activity. It's an agree or disagree. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to look at these different viewpoints. For example, students should wear a uniform to school. Children should be allowed to eat ice cream for breakfast. Cats are the best pet, and the rest. And what you're going to do is you're going to say whether you agree or disagree with that viewpoint. And then you're going to write a reason why to convince me, or to convince Miss Harris, or to convince Mr. Cridlin of why we should agree with your point, with your viewpoint. So for example, we have should student, I'll write the first one and then you can do the rest of them. So it says students should wear a uniform to school. I would agree and say because it is important to recognise the members of our school, which we can do with a uniform. So that's an example. You can continue on with that and see how you go. I'm really excited to read your responses and your reasons and maybe even agree with your viewpoints if you can convince me.